For this project, I started with a whole bunch of empty green beer bottles that someone had brought into the food pantry for me to use in my glass art. And I did take all the labels off the best that I could. Some were still left on there, and you can see there was some real sticky areas still on the bottles. But that'll all come off in the tumbling. So I put them in this box, and I just put a towel over it and started smashing them up. Normally I have a wooden box that I do it in, but it had other glass in it and it was kind of a mess, so I decided to do it this way. It's really important that you wear safety glasses because even if you have the towel over it, this can still fly out of the box. So I smashed it up as best I could, and then I went ahead and got the nippers from in the house and sat there on the garage floor and nipped them all into smaller pieces. And yes, there was some labels still left on it, but the tumbler will take care of most of that. Then I dumped it into the tumbler, and honestly, I think, well, for the first one, I ended up filling two barrels, two 3-pound barrels, put water over it, and then put a squirt of the Dawn dish soap in it. And the only thing this does is clean it. It'll help to get all the sticky stuff off of it. And I decided to put this on for 3 hours. And I'll tell you why. Because it had so much of the sticky stuff on it, and this is real thin glass, and I find that thin glass you have to tumble longer. It will not become frosted in 3 hours, but you will get all the sticky stuff off from the label, and a lot of the labels that are left on there will disintegrate, and they will not be sharp anymore. So anyway, I had 2 tumblers going at the same time. One's the National Geographic and the other's the VEVOR tumbler. And I believe I did it at the highest speed for both. And I just left it on for 3 hours. And then I dumped the 2 barrels out. And I actually ended up doing 6 barrels altogether because I had so much glass. And rinsed it all off and then dumped it out on a mat to dry. Actually ended up with quite a bit of glass from that case of beer, and it certainly was a pretty green color. So next I had to prepare the board. So this I had actually picked up at a garage sale at one point, and I sprayed it white, but after I sprayed it I realized you could see the letters through it. I'm not sure if you can see it in this, but you could see the letters, so I had to come back and sand it. It took me a good 10 minutes to get it all sanded down, and then I resprayed it again with the white matte spray paint. Honestly, it doesn't matter whether you spray it with matte, satin, or gloss, because once you put resin over it, it's going to be glossy anyway, so you wouldn't even know if you had used matte spray paint. After that spray paint had dried, then I came back with the sander again and went over the edges a little bit just to make it look distressed. It's funny the things we do to make things look old. Then I came back with full strength Mod Podge and painted over everything to seal it. And with the Mod Podge, it doesn't really matter whether you use matte or gloss, because like I said, you're going to be using resin on top of it and it's going to be glossy anyway. This will just seal the wood so that the resin doesn't soak into the wood and make it darker. And you could also use a spray sealer instead of Mod Podge. So it does appear that these are slats, but some of them are faux slats. You can see that they don't really go all the way through the back, but there are some cracks in it. So the areas that I think resin may leak through, I'm just taking a precaution and putting painter's tape around the perimeter, and then over those areas that do look like cracks that I can see light through it. And this is just so the resin doesn't all drip through there. And then I went ahead and dumped about half of the glass that I had broken up, so about half a case of beer bottles, onto the board and just shaped it into a Christmas tree. And I had pretty much decided that I was going to make this a coastal theme because it is the distressed. I thought that would be the best look for it. I used the large shell for the trunk of the tree and the starfish for the top of the tree. So after I was pretty much set with the shape of the tree, then I took some tiny starfish that I had and started placing them, scattering them all over the tree. And then I had a bunch of pearls that I had also picked up at a garage sale. That's one of the things I look for at garage sales and thrift stores is old jewelry. And I was a little bit concerned with these pearls because when I started taking them apart, I'm almost wondering if they were real pearls. They had little knots between them, and I know that's a sign. I don't know if that's a sign that they're real pearls, but maybe that it's a better jewelry. I don't know, but I used them anyway. I thought the pearls and the little starfish looked pretty. And then for the very bottom of it, after I got all the pearls on, I took some crushed shells. Now the crushed shells I got at Michael's. You get them in a container up at Michael's, and a lot of times you can find a coupon for whatever they sell at Michael's. So I'm sure you could get the whole container, which is about a pound, for less than $5. Here I am setting it up on two bowls, upside down bowls, to keep it up off the cardboard that I have under there. And then you can see at the bottom I ended up adding a few more shells and a little turtle brooch that I had picked up on Temu. I was ready for the resin. The resin I'm using for this project is Naked Fusion, the original formula. The original formula is a coating or doming resin. Don't get it mixed up with the new and improved formula, because this works best on canvas, and I mean you can use it for molds, but it works really well on canvas or a wood substrate like this. So after I mixed up my resin, this is a 1-to-1 ratio resin that you need to warm the resin portion for about 10 minutes before you start. It needs to be mixed a little bit longer than some of the resins, and the important thing is not the amount of time that you mix it, but how well it's mixed. Just make sure there are not any streaks in it. I usually drizzle the resin over the glass first, and this you really have to make sure that you put enough on that it drips down underneath to hold all the glass in place. As long as a little bit of resin touches each piece, you'll be fine. And after I do the glass, I usually do around the perimeter of the project, and now here I am drizzling it over all the shells. And with those also, you have to make sure you get enough that it's touching each piece, and each shell, larger shell, is touching the crushed shell so that it all sticks. After I get it on the project, I usually use either the spoon or a tool to spread it out, and in this case I'm using my hand. I guess it's easier. Just make sure that it's spread out all around the edges and that every area is covered. It's important that you try to get down eye level with it. You'll be able to see if there's any sediment. You'll be able to see bubbles. You'll be able to see if maybe there's some empty spots. I always come back every 15 minutes after I finish a project to check for glass placement, to check for bubbles, and retorch if I need it. And here I made a big mistake. So here is my real pretty starfish, and I put resin over it, and before your eyes you can see it starting to darken. And I've used starfish on other projects before, and I guess I didn't put resin over them. Now the little ones are already kind of brownish, but I really didn't like the way that this turned out. It was getting darker and darker as the resin soaked into it. So at the end I do end up swapping it out for a new one, and just removing this one totally. So resin sets best at temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It has a 45-minute work time. It's usually hard to touch between 8 and 24 hours and cures completely within 72 hours. I did use the kitchen torch to get rid of the bubbles. It's in your best interest to cover it with a dust cover when done. All resins are different. You need to read the directions for the resin that you are using. Hey everyone, I'm loving the way this turned out with the broken beer bottles. I just think that's so cool that we can recycle them and reuse them, and it's something that most people, just trash or, throw in the recycle bin. But anyway, I think that green, look at it up close, how pretty and sparkly that is with the resin on it. And then look at the bottom. The bottom turned out cute too. And the starfish that I put on the top, I started pouring resin over it. And as soon as I did it, I thought, oh no. So this is the one I pulled off. So if you guys make the same mistake, don't throw it out, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray paint this gold or another color and use it for the top of another Christmas tree. So that's the way to save your damaged products. But anyway, so I love the way this turned out. This is with the Naked Fusion original formula, and this is the one. The original formula is the one that's most like art resin. It works really good as a coating resin. It has a few extra steps. You have to mix it a little longer. They suggest you warm the resin before you do it. I usually put it in a cup and then warm both the resin and the hardener together. And I know some people say that's a no-no. It'll speed up the curing time. It will shorten your work time actually. But I really love that resin on canvas. It's a very nice coating resin, and you have to use a coating resin on something flat like this. If it's not in a reservoir or held in with a frame, you have to use a coating resin or it will leave fish eyes. So that was one thing. And then look at all the glass that I have left. I know it says Celestial glass on here, but it's not. I saved my containers. This is all the beer bottle glass I have left, so I can make a couple more Christmas trees with it. So that was a case of green beer bottles. So save your green beer bottles, or blue, or whatever color you might have. And even the clear ones you could save, because you could smash those up and you could use the TAMIYA green spray paint. I haven't really found a good translucent green spray paint. The best, the TAMIYAs are is like a blue-green. The Krylon is more of a green, but the Krylon is such a pain. Hard to find, very expensive, and you have to put so many coats on it, but it does work. But anyway, so all in all, I think it turned out pretty. I hope you guys enjoyed the project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Have the Facebook page going. Come join us there. A lot of great ideas. Everybody's putting out their Christmas projects now. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Thanks for watching.